channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui. On this channel I make tutorials. I post new videos on Monday, Wednesdays and on Saturdays. So if you're into stuff like this, make sure to check back on those days in order to watch new content. Alright, if you are a beginner or if you're a person that's trying to brush up on your skills, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo on how to make a jumpsuit so you can watch on the side if it will be convenient for you to learn online. If you're interested, send me a message on Telegram. Alright, the number is on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please give it a like. Do not forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. Yo, welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make the bubu dress that you've seen on the thumbnail with the bubu dress with the collar. So let's begin. I hope you're having a lovely day already. So I've made quite a number of bubus in the past, but in this video our focus is how to cut it with a shirt, with a t-shirt collar. So the first step is what I always do. I'm going to keep my ½ inch for my sewing allowance at the top. That's what I'm doing now, keeping my ½ inch for my allowance at the top. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the measurement for my shoulder. So you will need to take the measurement from here, you see, from this side of your arm, and you are going to go from here all the way around to the other side. Okay, you need to have that measurement. Alright, so after I measured mine, I ended up with 44. So I'm going to divide 44 by 2, so that's 22. I'm going to come and I'm going to place it over here like I'm doing now. You see that? And then the next thing I'm going to place running down there is the opening that your hand would need to pass through. So 16, this number will be enough for almost anybody, from a person with a bust of 35 all the way up to late 40s. So yeah, I've placed 16 there. I'm going to rule my line from here down, and then at the bottom of that 16 I'm going to come in by 2 inches. So you see what I'm doing here, and then I'm going to rule a line from here. After you've done this, you need to check the space that is left so that you see how much allowance you have for the rest for your body. Because if your hip would definitely enter this for most people, as long as you don't measure your sleeve too short, you're seeing where it is. If you measure it well, your hip will enter. The only other condition where your hip might not enter is if you're a South African, but for the rest of us, your hips will definitely enter. My right hip is 10.5, that's 42 divided by 4, 10.5. You can see where I've placed just now, and it's okay. Okay, what I'm going to simply do, I'll simply rule a line from that 2 inches that we placed all the way straight down, and with that we are done with drafting. This is a very easy pattern to draft. Roll a line from here straight up. If you want to increase that opening, you can always do so. You've seen the end results in the images I showed you at the beginning. When you're done marking it up, make sure to cut it out. Please, when you're transferring this to your fabric, make sure to increase the length on your fabric in case your paper is too short. The dress is supposed to be a long dress. As you can see, my paper is short, dress length is like 61, the paper stops at 40 something. So you can see I've written I need to add 20.5 at the bottom so that I do not forget, to advise to do the same. Alright, now if you notice I didn't cut out a neckline, do not cut out a neckline yet. Alright, the first thing we're going to do with the pattern is we're going to use this pattern to cut the back first. Alright, I'm going to make a fold. I'm going to cut the back of the dress on the fabric, and after I cut the back, we'll attend to the front. So you can see me here making a fold first of all, and then I'm going to place my pattern on top. Remember, I need to extend the length by 20.5. So I'm doing that. You can see the scissors is coming from down. I've increased the length at the bottom. Alright, and with that we're done with cutting the back. So you can keep the back aside. Let's modify the front. Okay, you've seen that the front has 3 pieces, so we're going to need to cut it in order to get that design. So the first thing you're going to do, mark 8 inches from the center of the front to the side. You see what I'm doing all the way, roll a line, and then we're going to cut it out. This piece that we're cutting out, the piece that is basically a rectangle, is the one we use to cut the center of the front. This piece I'm touching now, this is the center of the front. All right. The other side will be used for the side. Remember to extend the length at the bottom. You see here, I'll need to extend the length at the bottom. Also, I'll need to cut with half an inch of allowance so that I can use that allowance when I'm joining the two sides of the front, or sorry, the three sides of the front together. The other side, I'm going to extend the length and I'm going to add half an inch in front of here as well. All right. Make sure you pick out the fabrics you want to use, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it up. All right, so that's what I'm doing now. Place my fabric on the fold. You see that I'm placing the center of the front on a folded edge. It's not on an open edge. You can see I've cut it with ½ inch of excess on that side. And then I'm placing the two different fabrics that I intend to use for the two sides of what I'm making, and I put them on the fold. On this part here, the front can stay open. It must not be a closed edge because you want it to end up in two pieces. All right, so let's head over to the sewing machine. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to join both sides of the side to the center front that we have. That's why we added a ½ inch of sewing allowance when we were cutting out, so that by the time we are joining it back, we have already made provision and the front doesn't end up being smaller than the back. All right, so you can see me doing that now. I'm going to consume ½ an inch all the way down. I'm going to flip it over, do the same thing to the other side. Make sure that your sleeves are facing the same direction. You don't want one sleeve up and one sleeve down. Okay, look at see what I'm doing. Okay, you can see there's a sleeve here, a curve for the sleeve here. If we move out to the other side, the curve. So be careful so that you don't make a mistake. And then take it to your table, iron it so that everything lays smooth and nice. After that, you can see there's a rough edge here. It would be a good time for you to use an overlocker to finish it. But then I'm going to use my black bias to stitch on the borders of the stitch that we made to give it a decorative. That will give it a decorative effect. So cotton bias is what I'm using. You can also use satin bias if you are inclined to do so. So you can see I'm simply just stitching both sides of my bias tape on my fabric. I'm going to just bind it to hold it in place and give that edge a nice, build some. You can use a contrasting bias if you want to. After we've done all of that, join the front and the back together at the shoulder, consuming ½ an inch. All right. So you can see me do that now. I'm going to simply sew ½ an inch, and if you've kept all your allowances properly, this should be a walk in the park. So you can see we've joined the front to the back at this point. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I want you to fold it like I'm folding it. You see, join both sides of the shoulder together. You can see the way I'm folding it. So that's the back is on the other side of the machine. The front here is where I have the contrasts, the fabric, the center of the front that you can see. So make sure to fold your fabric the way I'm doing so. Keep it you separate the back to the other side of the machine and the front towards you, just like I have done. I'm making sure that everything is smooth underneath. All right, and then next thing we're going to do is we have to cut the neckline now. All right, so this neckline will work for most people. From the edge here, I'm going to place 4 inches. Please watch slowly watch with attention to see how I folded it, so you cut it carefully. In front of it here, I'm going to place 4 inches here. You see, 4 inches here. And then I'm going to come to the back and I'm going to place 1 inch. You see this? All right. And then I'm going to simply connect it together. So I'm connecting the 1 inch to the 4 inch here and the 4 inch to the 4 inch on the side. All right. Now I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to start from 4. I'm going to cut it out to the 4 and then cut it out to the 1. All right. Make sure to reinforce your stitches. You see this place, lock here and lock here, so that if not, it starts to loosen. So make sure to lock them back in place. And you see with that, we've cut our neckline like a t-shirt. The back is going to be high, the front is going to be low, but we did not cut them separately. The next step is for you to cut the rib that is meant for the neck. If you are in Lagos, you can go to Yaba Market and buy the rib that is meant for a t-shirt. This one here is my bomber jacket rib that I'm using. We'll have to reduce the width, sorry. So you're going to need to measure the neck of your client. My wife's neck is roughly 13 points, a few. So I'm going to approximate that back to 13, costing up to 13.5, and then I'm going to add 3 inches to it. So whatever the person's neckline neck width is, you add 3 inches to it. So you can see me, my wife's neck is 13, I'm cutting this at 16. All right, because this is too wide, I'm going to have to reduce it. I want it to be just 1.5. That's the sweet spot for the thickness of your rib. So you can see me cutting it up. All right, so remember, you measure the person's neck, you add 3 inches to it, and use that to cut the rib. I hope that is clear. After you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to join the rib together, just like I have shown you. I'm going to sew 1/2 inch from the top all the way down. All right. After you've done that, please make sure not to iron it immediately. If not, that's going to make the rib to lose its elasticity. So make sure you iron after you've done all your sewing when it comes to the rib. Don't put your iron directly on your rib. You see the way I'm folding it? I've put it on the joining on the side, and I'm going to simply stitch around the neck. You see what I'm doing? I'm putting both sides of the rib together and simply just going around the neck. Make sure not to stretch the rib when you are doing this. If not, it would crumple. After I join it, I simply just iron around the edge so that everything lays flat and sits nicely. You can use your overlocker to finish the rough edge that's left in there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on the sleeve. So you see on the sleeve here, you see from the 2 inch, you measure from here all the way across to the other side. You see, and when you get that number, you cut that length with a width of 3 inches. So let's assume that from here to the end is 40. You cut 40 by 2 inches. So you can see this. You can see what I have done here. That's what I'm going to do on the other side. The black piece is, yeah, so you see I had 32. I cut it at 33 by 2 inches. Okay, I just added the 1 inch there as miscellaneous. So now you turn to the wrong side of your fabric. You come to the wrong side of your fabric, simply just place it there and stitch 1/2 inch. I'm going to push it out a bit by 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to stitch from here all the way down, consuming 1/2 inch. Remember, measure through the sleeve, simply cut that number with a width of 2 inches. After you do this, you are going to iron it. So you're going to first lay it flat like so, push all the excess inside and iron it, because this part here needs to be really smooth. And after you've ironed it like that, you're going to turn it to the correct side like this, and then fold 1/2 inch and iron it. Okay, so let me go and do that. So you can see what I was talking about. You can see the way I folded 1/2 inch. You see that? So simply just iron it like that. I'm going to stitch from here all the way down. All right, I'm stitching as close to the edge as possible. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simply collapse it, stitch from the sleeve all the way down into the body. And after I do that, I'm done. If you've watched this far, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Do have a lovely day. Bye bye. Please make sure to like the video if you like the video. It really helps me out. All right. So I'm going to simply just stitch this, also fold the other side and stitch all the way down. I'll see you in the next video. Do have a lovely day.